If you're looking to build a strong fire deck to take on the Venusaur drop event, or simply want to build one of the best non-EX decks in the game, Blaine has you covered. Blaine's deck is the easiest in the game to build, consisting entirely of 2 diamond rarity cards or lower from the Charizard pack of Genetic Apex. Even if you haven't gone into the Charizard pack yet, you may actually have a lot of pieces of the deck, because every core card from the deck was included in the Fire Mass Outbreak Wonder Pick event from November 22nd to 28th. As the name would imply, Blaine decks are focused on non-EX attackers that can be powered up with the Blaine Supporter card, which allows Rapidash, Ninetales, and Magmar to hit for an additional 30 damage. This allows for an extremely aggressive playstyle, aiming to attack with the non-EX Pokemon as early as possible and start taking knockouts before your opponent has a chance to set up some powerful EX attackers. Something nice about this deck is that it has solid plays both going first or second. Rapidash, being a 1 energy stage 1 attacker, gives you a solid line when going first, dealing 40 damage for only 1 energy, or 70 if you have Blaine. 70 damage is enough to knock out every basic evolving Pokemon in the Genetic Apex meta, so you can often get a very early advantage, if not outright win, if the opponent leads something like Staryu, Execute, or Ralts. Even if you can't use Rapidash to get a knockout immediately, Rapidash's 100 HP allows it to tank hits from a lot of common attackers that hit 80 or 90, like Exeggutor EX, Pikachu EX, and Starmie EX, though be mindful that any of the 90 damage attackers can take a surprise knockout with Giovanni. Ninetales, on the other hand, is best going second. Ninetales deals 90 damage for 2 energy at the cost of having to discard one of those energies when attacking. If you factor Blaine into the mix, the damage becomes 120, which is exactly what you need to knock out one of the most relevant attackers of the format, Pikachu EX. Being able to one-hit KO Pikachu EX is great, but unfortunately, every other EX Pokemon is going to survive a hit from Ninetales, and most of them will be able to knock out Ninetales with a single attack, so you need to be careful of a revenge KO if you swap in Ninetales and aren't going to win the game immediately on the spot. Vulpix's Tail Whip attack is actually worth talking about. If you flip heads, the defending Pokemon can't attack next turn, which can allow you to stall as long as your opponent only has 1 Pokemon to attack with. You can even pair this with Sabrina to trap a Pokemon with the high retreat cost inactive, like Kangaskhan. Keep in mind the effect from Tail Whip only stops the exact Pokemon it was used on from attacking, meaning if that Pokemon evolves or the opponent swaps it out, they're going to be able to take a shot at Vulpix even if you flipped heads. Also, I do want to mention that you can include Magmar in your deck list if you really want to as a one-of, but the current Magmar from Genetic Apex isn't worth running in my opinion. Magmar only does 10 more damage than Rapidash, but it needs as much energy as Ninetales, minus the discards of course. Being a basic Pokemon does provide a sense of consistency that the other stage 1s don't have, but Magmar can end up as a bit of a liability due to its 2 retreat costs. If you place a Magmar on your bench, you need to be really careful that it doesn't get caught out by Sabrina if it doesn't already have energy attached to it. Luckily, Blaine doesn't need a specific printing of Magmar, so there is room left open for future versions to be worth playing. Do note, though, that Blaine specifically works with non-EX versions of Magmar, Ninetales, and Rapidash, so if any were to get an EX card in the future, they would not be compatible with Blaine. Here's the list I was using for this video. Something to mention here is that I am not playing any Giovanni in this list because I wanted to run a list where every card is either a generic card or found in the Charizard pack. If you have Giovanni, you can certainly play them, probably over a potion or an X-Speed. I do have 2 games to show here. The first of which is going to be against a Venusaur stall deck, or at least it should be. But you'll see how fast the deck can kind of tear apart any grass list. I'm going first. We're going to start with Ponyta, which is great. And then we'll use research, and then we're going to pass our turn after that, I believe. I'm hoping for a red card at this point, because as you can see, I don't have any other basics to bench. So I have a pretty big hand. They don't end up having one, luckily, but that could have kind of screwed me over here if they did. My opponent will use a Pokeball. They're going to bench another Caterpie and a Bulbasaur, so they have 2 of each on bench. And then they're going to use Caterpie's Find a Friend attack to search a random grass Pokemon. Our turn, we're going to start out by evolving into Rapidash, and then we'll play Professor's Research. We're going to see another basic here then. Ponyta, and we're going to end up benching that. Then I'm going to one-shot the Caterpie with Rapidash, 40 plus the 20 for weakness on that. They are going to promote Bulbasaur here, which is fine by me considering even if they evolve into Ivysaur, which they do, Ivysaur only has 90 HP, which is 1-hit KO'd with Blaine if you include weakness. So next turn, even if they promote the other Ivysaur and evolve that into Venusaur, I could just Sabrina the Caterpie and take the win if they don't have a Metapod. So my opponent, they attach energy to Ivysaur. They're basically, I think, saying, I think you don't have a second Blaine. Too bad for them, I do. And yeah, I knocked out that active Ivysaur, and at this point I have lethal in multiple different ways. So I can kill Ivysaur with Blaine and Rapidash. I can kill Ivysaur just straight up with Ninetales, or I could Sabrina anything on their bench and KO with Ninetales. My opponent is going to concede once they see the Blaine there, but yeah, even if I didn't have the second Blaine, I was still going to be able to find a way to win that turn. It didn't actually matter whether I had it or not. The next batch, I'm going to be going first as well. This time, I am unfortunately going to have to lead Vulpix, which always feels not quite as good going first. Here, I'm going to be up against a Lightning deck. You're going to see, yeah, they'll reveal the Zapdos EX there as their lead. I'm going to Pokeball for a Ponyta, and then I'll place that down before passing turn. They are going to start their turn. I believe they research into Pokeball, I believe. Yeah, there's a Pokeball in. I'm expecting Pikachu to be making an appearance soon. Technically it does, but it's the normal Pikachu rather than the EX. So they end up just attaching to Zapdos and attacking for 20 damage there. I'm going to Pokeball for my second Ponyta. At this point, I don't have any evolutions. So I decide between attacking with Ponyta for 20 or stalling with Vulpix, or at least attempting to stall for Vulpix. I do try to go for that, but I flip tails, unfortunately. So I'm going to be taking a hit next turn. Probably just 20 damage based on the current board state, but you never know. They could have some surprise. Pikachu EX hits the board then, and then Raichu, and then another Pikachu. So they've got a bench full of rats now. They are going to start setting up on that Pikachu EX, attaching energy, and then, yeah, they hit the 20 on Vulpix, as we kind of thought would happen. I'll start my turn with a research, finally seeing Ninetales, 2 of them, in fact. At this point, I need my Vulpix to survive because Ninetales one-shots Pikachu with Blaine, Pikachu EX. So I'm going to X-speed the Vulpix, and then I'm going to attack with Ponyta, which it brings the Zapdos EX under 130, which could possibly allow a one-hit KO later with Blaine plus Ninetales, because again, that's dealing 120. So 120 is kind of the sweet spot in this deck you're looking for. Even though I had Ninetales on my hand, I actually choose not to evolve it to play mind games. I want to make them think that Pikachu EX is a safe swap in. This play does play into red card, but I felt like they would have used it last turn if they had it, so I'm kind of taking the gamble on that. They do end up taking the bait and switching in Pikachu EX into my Ponyta for a quick KO on their turn. So I'll then swap into Vulpix. I'm going to Potion just so it's like basically guaranteed to live 2 attacks. And then I'm going to evolve into Ninetales. I will Blaine, and then I'll one-hit KO the Pikachu EX. After this play, I am in a pretty commanding position here. Zapdos EX, I believe, is going to come back out, I think, yeah. And then a Pikachu EX is going to be played, the second one, so that's both of those accounted for. And they're going to think for quite a bit here. This took a long time for them to make another play. And you can see, I mean, I've sped up the video, but they're thinking for quite a while. I'm pretty sure they're recognizing that they're in a kind of bad situation right now. They are eventually going to Sabrina at some point. There it is. They Sabrina my Ponyta into active. Basically, they're just attempting to stall for a turn, and then they're going to start building up the Pikachu EX. They're basically accepting that Zapdos EX is just kind of going to be on damage sponge duty right now. So here, if I drew an X speed, I actually won immediately, but Vulpix is a decent draw since benching it does insulate my Ninetales from a Sabrina. At this point, I see 2 lines of play. So first option, I could have Sabrina their Pikachu into active, basically sacrificing my Ponyta, and then one-hit KO the Pikachu next turn with Blaine, assuming they bring in the Pikachu EX, of course. Second, I can just do like kind of nothing and then try to one-hit KO them later next turn, their Zapdos specifically. I chose the latter option, but the problem is if they did have a potion, the Zapdos EX didn't die, which as you saw, they just did. So that was kind of unfortunate. But I draw the Rapidash here, and realistically, it's going to be fine, even though they did have that potion. I just need to attach with Rapidash this turn to damage the Zapdos EX, and then next turn, Ninetales plus Blaine is going to KO anything on board, so they're not going to be able to heal out of the same shenanigans that they did that turn. So pretty much the only way I could lose here, I believe, is if they red carded me and I didn't draw into Blaine specifically. So it was as close to checkmate as it really could be. Again, I think red card was possibly their only out. But yeah, as you'll see, they didn't end up having their red card. So I'm going to end up finishing the game with the Blaine plus Ninetales. dealing another 120 damage to that Pikachu EX for a one-hit KO. As always, I hope this video was helpful. If it was, I could appreciate it if you leave a like. Feel free to subscribe for more Pokemon TCG Pocket content. I'm also streaming most nights at twitch.tv/argmytoast if you want to catch me live. I mostly focus on Pokemon TCG Pocket content right now, but I dabble in all kinds of other Pokemon challenges and speedruns. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.